Part 1, the prequel, The Covenant of the Sinkhole, 1847. The valley was a gray throat, choked with the frost of a winter that refused to break. Silas Vance stood at the edge of the Blackwood sinkhole, a jagged tear in the earth where the limestone dropped away into a darkness that never saw the sun. Behind him, on the hill, sat his cabin. Inside, his youngest daughter's breath sounded like a dry leaf skittering across a floor. The crops were black rot in the frozen soil. The cows were stiff statues in the barn. "You were there," Silas croaked into the pit. "The old one said you were here before the trees. You who drinks the rain and eats the shadow." The air didn't move, but the ground beneath his boots felt liquid. A low vibration hummed in his teeth. "My blood for the land's blood," Silas shouted, his voice cracking. "I will build you a rib cage, a house of heartwood and stone over this mouth. I will sit in its center. I will be your heartbeat, so you may feel the fire's warmth. In exchange, you will make my name a titan. You will guard my kin. You will feed us." The response wasn't a voice. It was a sudden, violent heat that surged through the soles of his feet. The frost around the sinkhole melted in a perfect circle, revealing lush green grass in the middle of a blizzard. Silas fell to his knees. The pact was sealed. The land was no longer his. It was a hungry partner. He began to drag the first stones that very night. He didn't build a home. He built a vessel for a monster. And he was the first drop of oil for its lamp. Part 2, the first failure, the blight of Julian Vance, 1912. By 1912, the Vances were the kings of the county. The farm had become a sprawling Victorian estate, and the family wealth was tied to the new railroads. But Julian Vance, a man of science and fire, hated the superstition of the selection wall. When his name appeared in the gold stone, he didn't pick up the pin. He picked up a canister of kerosene. "I will not be a battery for your greed," Julian screamed at his gathered elders. "The world is moving. We have electricity now. We don't need a god in the floorboards." He doused the grand library. He soaked the vade-mecum. He struck a match and watched the velvet curtains bloom into orange death. As the house began to shriek, a sound like grinding metal and sobbing children, Julian ran. He had a ticket for a steamship, the SS Adriatic, leaving for the shores of Europe. He intended to let the Vance name die in the ashes. But the house did not simply burn. As the flames licked the ceiling, the hunger lashed out. In the city, the Vance railroads began to collide. In the nurseries, the children began to choke. The family's luck was reversing into a black hole. "Stop!" cried Arthur, Julian's younger brother. He threw himself into the burning foyer, smelling his own hair singe. I take the burden. I am a Vance. Accept me. The house hesitated. The fire, which should have consumed the building, suddenly sucked backward into the vents. The wood didn't char, it healed. But Arthur was not the chosen one. The house accepted him only as a temporary fix, a placeholder. Arthur lived, but he aged a year every week. His hair turned white by the next moon. He became a withered husk, a short-lived wick used to keep the darkness at bay until the house could select a proper anchor. The reckoning. Julian, meanwhile, was miles away, standing on the deck of the great steamship as it pulled out of the harbor. He felt a sense of triumph. He had escaped the superstition. He watched the coastline vanish into the mist. He never reached Europe. A week later, the headlines were baffled. The SS Adriatic, a ship of steel and pride, had vanished in the middle of a calm sea. No wreckage was found, no lifeboats, no oil slicks. In the charred but miraculously restored library of Blackwood Manor, a new entry appeared in the ledger, written in the trembling hand of the dying Arthur. Julian thought the ocean was deep. He forgot that the earth is beneath the water too. The house has long arms, and it does not like to lose its property. There is no away. There is only here and the silence.